Hello and welcome to a new devlog. It's been quite a while since the last time we worked on Kemono Springs, so I'm very excited. And today we will fix the mess we left after my last live stream. Honestly, I wasn't happy with how the UI I prepared looked, so I came up with a brand new design that I like much better. So hopefully by the end of this video we will have a nice and beautiful UI that is fun to use. So let's get started. Okay, so we will start by replacing the abomination at the bottom right, because this little round knob here would fit a nuclear missile launcher Uwu edition, but definitely not a progress time button. This time I came prepared and actually checked how buttons a good all work, and to make it quick, we will have way less trouble making the button invisible and putting all the textures as children than if we try to use the texture button. So let's add a few textures here for the individual elements for better control over the visuals. This is currently gigantic because I created all textures at twice the resolution to make the game 2K friendly. So let's do a bit of a cleanup and then we can add a small animation to be played when the button is hovered and clicked. Always remember that renaming is important. My little garlics... garlickers? No, this sounds weird. Garlicians? Gardeners? Almost forgot to change the type here. Classic. And we also need to reassign the button in the UI, and I like the way the UI scaling cut off the variable name. Let's add a little animation. I want the center element to rescale on click and get highlighted when hovered. So I'm gonna add a new texture rect and fill it with a circular gradient as an overlay. To make it look a little bit better, we can change the material type to add alpha. And to save a bit of memory, I'm going to save this material so that we can reuse it for other UI elements in the future. Okay, let's rename it and then move on to animate the button. Actually, let's make the fill texture part of the inner frame so that we don't have to rescale both elements individually. Okay, now we can add an export for the inner part and then we can add the rescale animation. And you know what? I'm going to organize the export a bit because we are going to add more in the future and we might as well start now. So for the animation, I'll do the tween thing again. So let's add a variable here. And we need to kill the tween because we are evil parents. Okay, so we create a new tween and then we set the property of the button inside scale to vector 2. And then we copy and paste it to reset to the original scale afterwards. Okay, let's try it out. And I think it could be a little bit faster. So let's change this to 0.5. And yes, perfect. Now that I think about it, maybe I want to reuse this code here for other UI elements, so I think I'm gonna make a wrapper function for this. Wrapper? Wrapper? I can't roll R's for the life of me. Okay, so let's copy this down here and change the values to parameters. We need the scale tween variable down here too, and this should be removed. And now we just need to call the function on this node. Alright, beautiful wrapper function. And now we can do the same for the highlight function. I'm beginning to feel like a rap god. Okay, let's change this to flash tween, and we call this the flash button on hover function. Wrapper. Jesus, man. I give up. I can't do it. The German is too strong in me. On the other hand, I can say stuff like, wer anderen eine Bratwurst brät, braucht ein Bratwurst-Bratgerät. And then there are beautiful sounding words like Pfropfen or Pempel or Potzblitz. Wonderful, wonderful word creations that absolutely nobody uses. Except maybe for me. If only I had more time, I would probably make a second channel in German. Probably educational content like science lessons, but, well, I barely make it with the upload schedule for this channel, so yeah, it's just a pipe dream. Okay, now that we got this finished, we just need to add the mouse events to the button, and then we're done here. So let's make it looping. And then we add the mouse entered and mouse exit events, and yeah, this should work. Ah, wrong function. This needs to go in the ready function. Okay, now we can test it. And it works, but obviously it's flashing the wrong node, so we need to change that. And then we're done. Let's add another export here. And then we connect the new export here in the ready function. And now it should work. Oh, we forgot a reset when we exit with the mouse, so let's add a default here, in case there's no control passed. So let's play test it, and yeah, it works. Awesome, this is very satisfying. Alright, let's continue with the servant element now. And luckily, this one won't be as complicated. Let's begin with the bar. And fortunately, in this case, it's just replacing the textures. And that's it. And in the case of the servant background frame, we will just replace the texture and add a texture rect on top of it that holds the servant portrait. Because currently we replace the button texture and we no longer want that. And after a bit of resizing, we can add the needed export and change the variable to accommodate for the new node structure. And then we need to adjust the position of the image, set the anchor to the bottom of the frame and remove the normal part here after the texture part. And this is how it looks now. And I think it's almost perfect already. We just need to adjust the text font and then we're good. Unfortunately, Godot doesn't allow absolute values displayed and only shows a percentage, so we have to manually add the displayed value. So I'm gonna add a label to the bar. I also think that rescaling the portrait, including the boy, reduces the readability of the UI, because it takes away from the sharpness of the bar. So let's change it that only the portrait frame is rescaled. So I changed the node of the rescaling to just the frame node, and the problem is when doing so, then the anchor point is still on the top left, so we need to fix this next. Okay. It's actually the next day, and not gonna lie, it took me an unholy amount of time to figure out how to do this. Containers are such a pain to use in Godot. I tried literally everything from center containers to margin containers, etc. None of it ever made the image scale from the center. Until eventually I tried adding another control as the parent of the frame, and well, you can see it here. It works now. And honestly, this had no right to be this complicated, because it was just about changing the pivot point of the image, but well, Godot doesn't let you when the image is part of a container, so you have to figure out another solution for this. And then I noticed a bug with the progress bar moving the fill part slightly to the left on percentages other than 100%, and I wasted another 2 hours on fixing that as well. So what I did was replacing the progress bar with a so-called texture progress bar. And don't ask me why there are 2 different nodes that essentially do exactly the same thing. But this one was much easier to work with. And in my frustration, I also tinkered around with the label and made it white with a border to make it better visible over both the fill and the background of the bar. So yeah, I guess mission failed successfully. Eventually. Well, enough with the rant, we got a customer element to fix, so let's switch over and continue with this one. Okay, future Garlic here. Past Garlic doesn't know yet, but I'm going to make a cut here and end the video, because when I did the editing, turns out I had almost half an hour of edited video. So I hope you will tune in again next time, when we finish the new UI with the new elements. So, see you then. Toodles!